Hello. Hello.
We find ourselves again.
We do.
Well, I find myself again sitting on the ground.
It's the best place to kind of sit, you know? You connect with the earth, basically.
The earth. And we also don't always bring tripods on these trips because they're freaking big. Hello. Welcome to, let's just call this the Creatives Extra. I'm joined today by my good friend, colleague, life partner. I'm just kidding.
Hey, sometimes. Now good.
Andrew Phanthavong, who is a very talented video creator and a person that has been very key in my journey from very early on. Him and I were introduced by my good friend Anthony, because Andrew and Anthony worked together at the time. And Anthony knew I was getting into cameras, and Anthony knew Andrew was getting into cameras, and he's like, yo, you guys should hang out because you both like cameras. And then I met Andrew, and then I was like, yo, this guy has a Sony A7S III, and I was like,
It's expensive.
That's an expensive camera. This guy must be rich.
No.
But then I soon realized that he was intrigued. He took a leap of faith into that realm, and his ability to take leaps of faith and believe in things is the reason we still work together. And it's actually the reason we're sitting here today. Like, literally
San
geographically.
Francisco, California, with the Golden Bridge right behind us. It's unreal. I don't think we would have ever thought about this probably in our first, year or second year in this, sitting in California right with the bridge behind us and coming from one of the most intense race weekends that we've just experienced and filmed and produced together, basically.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
I want to talk a little bit about that journey today, because So Andrew and I began working with an independent creator, a trailblazer by the name of Suelio Almeida. And it's funny because the last time I recorded one of these, it was on a trip with him to Germany. Andrew's been all over the world with Suelio, and essentially we are his media team. We capture video. Andrew does all the editing for Suelio Almeida's marketing campaigns, for his video projects, and this weekend we found ourselves in Northern California at Sonoma Valley Raceway.
Beautiful.
To film the finale of the Radical Cup North America series, where Suelio was fighting for a championship. And
It was probably one of the most intense races I've ever seen in my life. It was, being in the pits and looking at the last race, I think I had a lot of excitement because, like you and I both know, when we first started working with Suelio, you saw him from his roots, his grassroots racing.
Yeah.
He started from the sim, started in a Toyota GR86 or something.
With Apex V2R.
And just to see his amount of growth as a person, as a racing driver.
As an entrepreneur, even.
Someone that's, has a master's in classical piano or in piano or whatever he's doing in that. And he's just an on and off switch when it comes to being on the racetrack, and to show that his racecraft and all of his techniques is working for him. I think it's just a beautiful process of that, and being at that final race at the last race of the season to define whether Suelio Almeida is, can become that sim racer to real life and validate his knowledge. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful, and it's been really cool to see the journey of an independent creator unfold. So I met Suelio early in my journey, and at the time that he needed video production help, he was getting into creating content. I didn't have the capacity to help him, but I wanted to, introduce him to someone that I trust dearly, which is Andrew. And Andrew and him connected and worked together very closely, and they grew his YouTube channel from a couple thousand subscribers to now, over 150,000?
150, yeah.
150,000, with a truly passionate community that I've witnessed all over the world. Like, people literally come up to Suelio, thank him for his videos, his knowledge. They bring his book, they get him to sign the book, they get him to sign a hat. Like, it's crazy to see the independent creator journey and how much impact you can have on the world by just sharing knowledge. And then even I was telling you earlier, I was like, bro, we're literally here making a movie with 2 backpacks. Like, we got 2 backpacks with enough firepower in them to film absolutely anything we could ever need to film.
Yeah.
We have, multiple lenses, drone. We have our laptops. We have 13 terabytes of hard drives.
Audio recording.
Shout out these DJI mics. They're fucking cool. And
it's a beautiful process, right?
It's cool, man. It's like there's no roadmap, though. That's what's a little scary.
It's almost like you go in with, here are the 3 things that are going to happen. But the thing is, there's a million other things that come into play that we don't know and that we see when it comes to these race weekends.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing and the reason why I think we both work so well together as well is just being able to handle change, being able to be adaptable in these scenarios. Because, you know, there's going to be stuff that comes at you and it's going to be uncomfortable. But the thing is, I think once you start to see it and you see how it plays out and how you manage it, how you manage the stress, all of those little things, I think add to the bigger picture of why weekends like this are successful.
Walk me through like what are the biggest challenges that we face as a video creator, you're going into a race weekend. What are the things that are the most challenging and what are the things that excite you the most about it?
I think the challenging aspect will probably be storytelling. And the reason for that is because we have an idea of how the weekend's going to go in terms of, or how his previous weekends were going to go, now translating into, okay, what does this weekend look like? How do we make it better, right? Because you have the first round of the championship video, and you made it the best, and now you have your second, but you got to make it better than the first, and vice versa, and continuing. But I think just going into the weekend, not knowing what's going to happen, because it's really based out of the outcomes of the events. Like if Swelio did not perform the way that he did, I don't know what kind of story we would tell. But I think the most important thing also is just rolling with it and envisioning kind of, you know, how does it play in your head? And throughout this whole weekend that we did together, I think just rolling ideas off of one another, just capturing as much as we can, and in our head while we capture it, we're like, okay, because I know you had a click when you were talking to Chris McMurray. You're like, I see how this is going to look. I see how this is going to be. And I think that's one of the most kind of challenging aspects, is because at the end of the day, if you don't have a story to tell, or if you don't have, you know, something that's intriguing to bring people that don't know about motorsports into the sport, then it's not going to perform well, right? And in terms of the enjoyment aspect, I think it's just the experience of being on these trips. It's hard to soak in the moment. It's hard to, you know, understand that we're traveling to Germany, we're traveling to the United States, and we're traveling in different parts of the world. But
you're in Dubai earlier this year, and you're going back.
Well. Yeah, it's gonna be it's been crazy, but it's, you know, cool. Just all of that, being thankful for it, and just, you know, taking time like today to sit down. You know, we got people around us, but we don't care.
There's a lot of people walking around us. We're sitting on the ground right now. If you're just listening
no
to
one's
this,
remember us.
That's a good point. But I do commend your ability to see a story unfold before it's even unfolded.
Exactly.
Because I tend to think very technically and like, okay, we got to get this done. We're capturing like all the angles, the audio, the onboard cameras, the drone shot, and then you're like seeing the way the story can unfold in multiple different angles. And I think it's really, really cool. If you haven't checked out any of Swelio's videos, check them out, because he's a really captivating way of speaking. And then Andrew's editing paired with his ability to present information is like really cool, and you'll understand why he is where he is in his life just by watching like one of his videos. There's a
lot that you don't see behind the scenes in terms of his aspect, my aspect, just anything in general. But that's the beauty of it, is, you know, we're presenting this to thousands of people around the world, maybe even millions, hopefully one day.
Millions for sure. You guys get millions of views a month, like across platforms.
And I think just throughout that process, it's how do you inspire? How do you have people want to pursue what he's doing? How do you motivate sim racers to become exactly what that is? How do you change your mind, or not even necessarily change the mind, but how do you adapt your mind and train your mind to be, you know, in that position, and to help touch on that emotional aspect? I think is one of the biggest things for us. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's how do we connect with the audience, and how do we tell you Swelio's story?
It's a good story to tell, man.
Yeah.
And it's back to like some of the challenges of like filming one of these events, or filming a race weekend in general. You literally got to work from this this is the moment you wake up till you go to sleep. So we had 3 days at the racetrack, and those 3 days, that's 72 hours, was one work day. Like, it was a full, like, you get to the track, you're all day shooting, you get back, you're backing up footage, you're making 2 copies of it. I mean, you don't have to, but we like to make 2 copies of it. Safety, because 2 is 1 and 1 is none, especially when you're on the other side of the world. So you're making backups, you're formatting your cards, you're charging all your batteries, you're getting all ready, and then you got to take care of yourself too. You got to clean up, freshen up, rest, and then you got to get back at it. So 3 days straight. And yesterday was just glorious to see him cross that finish line ahead of his championship points contender. Although he placed 3rd in that final race, he still was ahead of Chris McMurray, who was his championship contender. And it was just like, it was actually beautiful. It was truly a very, very beautiful thing, because I feel like I don't know. It's just like
it's
hard to put words.
It's, I think just being in the creative industry, you think about these things. You're like, how does it play out? What is it going to look like? And it was funny because we were talking the other day about like, what is going to be the outcome? What is it going to feel like? And I don't think we expected it to go how this weekend actually went.
The championship was decided in the last race of the last race weekend.
And the drama.
It was
just
crazy.
Everything. And
there was drama. Like,
it's beautiful. But that's, I think, the beauty of it. It's like, you have, you need to get from point A to point B with these weekends, but then you go from point A to A1, A2, A3, all these other variables that add into that full picture to then your point B. And then when you look at it, and when we look back at it, a year from now, or even when the video's done and 3-4 months from now, I think just being in that moment and being able to witness that in real life, I think is a beauty.
It is a beauty. Yeah. The opportunities are expanding, the possibilities are expanding, and people are just like seeing what's possible. I think it's a beautiful thing to lead by example and then see other people follow in your footsteps. It's a beautiful thing to inspire someone to like go and do something, especially if it's something they love doing and you had a big role to play. It's really cool, and that's kind of what I like to try and do with video. And just like, I don't exactly have a roadmap when it comes to like creating content and like just talking in front of a fucking camera.
Just have fun.
Just talking. Yeah. It's like, it's okay. Part of why I like to document is because it's a very nice way to like keep record of your thoughts. It's like a video journal in a way. There's an opportunity for other people to learn from your thoughts, and also in a world where we are essentially like seen everywhere we go, cameras are everywhere. Yeah. And you're never in privacy unless you're in the middle of a forest. Even then, that's questionable. So I like to take the approach of like, if I'm gonna be seen, I may as well curate the way I'm heard and seen on the internet, because I'd much rather have a say in what is being shown than to just be shown and think I'm hiding, even though you're not. The reality is you're not hiding, bro. There's doorbell cams everywhere. There's security cameras everywhere. Like, you can't hide, and that's fine. Like, I'm not trying to hate on the fact that there's cameras everywhere, but it's an interesting thing to have a bit of an input into it and to curate that. Yeah. And our kids one day will be able to see every stage of our lives.
Because what if this ends up on Netflix, like as a documentary?
I don't know. It might.
Creative dreams, or a videographer, cinematographer, whatever you call them, creative mind. I don't know. So many different possibilities.
And those names too: cinematographer, videographer, video creator,
it's a lot.
Like direct. Like, okay, so having some experience in the film industry, those names, those roles are rigid in a film environment and a television environment, but I find like when it comes to like the video production world, like you're doing a lot of things. Like you're wearing a lot of the hats.
What did you do this weekend?
This weekend, I was a drone operator, I was a cinematographer, I was a camera operator, I was a photographer, I was a
assistant.
Producer.
We were both assistants.
Assistant, driver. Like, you're just like, you're doing all this stuff, and an audio mixer too, apparently. I made a slight mistake and forgot to hit record, but it's fine. I make mistakes all the time.
Everyone makes mistakes. If you don't make mistakes,
you're a liar.
Yeah, you're a liar. You're a liar, basically.
Oh man. Speaking of mistakes, I will just publicly put this here because I made a pretty fucking big mistake last week.
But
I'm going to say it because whoever's listening to this, you'll get the insights into my brain. I crashed my $30,000 cinema drone into the ground. I turned off all the obstacle sensors to be in close proximity to a subject I was filming. And I forgot to turn them back on, came in for a landing, and landing gear didn't auto-deploy as it normally does. Flew it right into the ground. I am impressed at how that thing handled the crash. And DJI has already handled it. My drone's somewhere in Southern California getting fixed right now.
We might pick it up after. No, I'm kidding. But I think the beauty of that story, besides the breaking, is I think the beauty of...
Just the ND, keep going.
The beauty of just like how you're able as an individual to handle situations like that, to be able to, react to it. Because I think the biggest thing is, when situations like that happen...
Yeah.
How do you react as a human being? How do you react as, how does it affect your weekend? Because that happened right before the race weekend, right?
Yeah, that was the same week, like the week before, leading up to the weekend. So we're like, got a bunch of prep to do, a bunch of work to do.
And this just happened.
I'm just dealing with this mistake. I learned from it.
But the way that you approached that situation and approached everything, obviously wasn't as felt throughout the weekend, which I think is amazing, because when situations like this happen, like there's times where I mess up my own camera, my headphone port doesn't work anymore or something, or my microphone port doesn't work. But being able to be like, you know what, shit happens, I learned from it, and at the end of the day, mistakes, they do happen, but I think we experience them to improve every single day, and change our mindset in terms of I'm not gonna have a bad weekend, but this weekend's gonna be amazing. And I think the way that you approach that situation is is good. It sucks because it's expensive. It's $20,000 drone. He has insurance. Make sure you get insurance.
DJI Carry Fresh coming to the rescue.
But just like the overlook of the situation, I think is really important, and not letting it ruin your day or ruin this and that. And at the end of the day, you're gonna get it back.
Yeah,
it's like it never happened, and you're gonna be happy.
Hopefully. We'll see. We'll see if they do it. We'll see if they fix it well. I'm sure they know what they're doing. It's a wise man told me once, like, in the face of a mistake or in the face of a problem, a true test of your character is how you respond to those problems. How do you respond to a situation? Because the mistake is out of your control, but your response is fully in your control. Yeah. So if you get a grasp on the way you respond, then I find you can grow a lot from it.
Yeah.
So obviously there's going to be an emotional aspect where you're like fucking like hurting inside. Yeah. You've spent all this time and money and effort and months have gone by in planning to get this thing, and then you fly it right into the ground. Yeah. It's like there's an emotional side to it, but then there's the actual practical, okay, I need to deal with this.
Yeah. It's like your little baby, right? Like you want to take care of it as much as you can, and the one day where something happens, it's another day. That's all.
It's just a thing, yeah. So beyond that, Andrew, what do you see? Where do you see the future? The industry's changing. Our careers are rapidly changing. Our path seems to continue to expand every time we do something, and it opens more options and more possibilities for what could happen. So what do you see? What do you see?
It's tough.
Coming.
Like, I think when you look at the future, there's only so much that we can hope for or want to lead our path to. Mm-hmm. I think I look at my goal, and it's wanting to, travel the world and just create content in terms of just, what are the beauties in each city? What are the beauties in each country that there is? But for myself, I think, there's that. But then there's this whole other side of racing. There's this whole other side of real estate, weddings, whatever. Mm-hmm. I think the most important thing is trying to live in the moment of just letting it happen. And, how do I achieve that goal, and how do I take those steps to get to that certain point? But then tomorrow, Swelio might get a call and be like, we want you to drive an F1. Then it's everything changes, right? But, there's a lot of things that, change in the span of these 2-3 years. The way that AI has been evolving, the way that tech like this microphone DJI.
These mics are incredible for what they are and how easy they are to use.
Exactly.
Like, just so you can get a sense of how we're recording this, like, we're holding the mics. We got a wind thing on it. They're like AirPods. You just pop them out of a case, plug it in. Left channel is Andrew, right channel is me. We're going to duplicate each of those left and right so we get a stereo signal from both. Do a little bit of audio processing to make it sound good. And we're just recording a podcast on a pier in San Francisco, California.
With the bridge behind us. It's nice.
With the bridge, and it's kind of becoming more visible as the time goes on. But I like that, man. That's a good mindset. Yeah. And my friend Cameron told me a quote, there's no such thing as luck. It's when or not that there's no such thing, but luck is just when preparation meets opportunity. The work you do when no one's watching, that's very, very powerful, because it shines through in how you conduct yourself in just about everything. And I know you and I have been on an interesting running journey recently, and just like
you just crushed a 10K.
Just crushed a 10K race a week ago, actually. That's also why I didn't have time to stress about the drone, because I had to prep for a race.
Got your mind out of the idea of that, and
it was
you
crazy.
Felt better probably after the run too.
I felt like I was on a insanely high level of energy. It was crazy. Like, we ran through Ottawa. I'm running through Ottawa. I'm seeing all these places that I have memories at. I actually ran close to where we did the drone shoot a few days earlier and fucking crashed it. And it was cool to run through Ottawa and then also run with all these people. Have a really good result too. Ran my fastest 10K ever in 49 minutes.
It's crazy pace.
It was quick, but aside from that, I am very proud of that. But that journey of the physical exercise journey,
Yeah.
the work you put in learning, the work you put in researching, and then
Mind-body connection.
yeah, exactly. Mind-body connection, your social life, your personal life, like how you manage your space, and like all the things you do when no one's watching. And then when you find yourself in these situations where, you know, the stage is there, and then now you got to shine. Like I think everything that you do when no one's watching plays a role when everyone is watching, I suppose, or not that everyone is always watching, but.
I think for us, like, we're always behind the scenes, and as you said, like the process of just creating something for other people and helping them grow, which helps us grow, and to be in front of the camera and speak about it, I think, you know, it's a memory, you know, right? And you look back at it again, 10 years for your kids to watch.
It is. This is really cool. Yeah. These are always the things where like you're in the moment and you're like, I don't feel like whipping out the camera and connecting the microphone and sitting in the middle of a busy area and talk, and then like you do it and then you go home and you're sitting down and you're just like alone and you look at it and you're like, yes, I'm so glad I did that. That even happened like in Germany, like on the last morning. I got up super early to try film the Nürburgring Castle.
It was a beautiful shot.
It was so foggy. No, it was super foggy. I got up at 6:30, dead tired. I'm like, I want to film this castle. We're leaving today. I tried to film it, couldn't see shit. It was super foggy. I'm like, okay, fuck it, whatever. Go back to the hotel, meet up with Swelio. We're loading up the car, and I look at the castle, and it's like the sun. It just broke through the clouds, and I'm like, but we gotta go. And then Swelio's like, nah, just do it, just film it. We have time, 5 minutes. And it was like one of my favorite shots from the trip, and it reminded me to like never be like, I'll come back here. Like, no, we might not come back.
Because you never know. Something might, like...
You might die, bro. You might...
Yeah, that might happen.
That might happen. You may never come back. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Or you might just be occupied with different stuff and you forget, right? Because there's so many things that happen in our life that, like, your brain is thinking about 10 million things, and, like, you want to remind yourself this one thing, but then you forget. But when you execute it, I think the results and the way that you feel is something that you can't have, you know, or take back or whatever. It's truly an amazing feeling to feel that. And my question to you is, about this whole weekend that we've experienced together in Sonoma, California, what are some things that you've taken away, and what kind of advice would you provide for other creatives?
One thing I've taken away is that your process, my process, whatever process, it's so freaking vital, because I've spent years developing my process just by doing it over and over again. And I'm talking about like the video process, mostly the video audio capturing process. I've spent so many years developing it, so, you know, coming on this weekend and we're in a new place, we're in a new racetrack, it puts it to the test, and it kind of gives me reassurance that the process works and it's worth doing it 1,000 times, so that when you're at the stage and you have the opportunity to like stretch your legs and show what you're capable of, you're not thinking about like the little nitty-gritty stuff. That stuff is like automatic. And I was even telling you, like, we're just flying through the settings on our camera, switching from photo to video to, the sun is about to go behind the mountain, I'm gonna go get a drone shot while you go do this. And it's just like that. If I didn't have a robust process, and if I hadn't flown a drone 1,000 times before, I wouldn't be able to like instantly go within 2 minutes, have the drone up, get the shot, come back. Like, so the process has been really interesting to put to the test. Another thing, the world is very small. Every time I travel, it feels a lot smaller. I feel like we all consume the same media, music, products. So everywhere I go, I feel like I'm right here, you know? So that's always good. And people are just great everywhere you go, man. The team, GRP, Grammar Hall Performance. Experience. Just like people who are passionate about what they do and people who like actually give a shit about what they put into the world are, in my experience, always going to be great people to just have a chat with. You never know what a conversation can get you, man. Like, I was just chatting with Michael, one of the mechanics, and then it led to him showing me a $2 million Porsche in a trailer.
Very beautiful.
Which was just hiding away. And he's like, we're just chatting. He's like, I'll show you this car. So, you know, have conversations is what I've learned. Speak to everyone, shake people's hands, like, just smile. I don't know, say hi.
It's true. And I think at the end of the day, it's like, when you have these experiences and you have these conversations, you never know where it leads to, but the beauty of that is, would you rather know nothing and have nothing happen, or would you rather explore the unknown, right? And sometimes it can be uncomfortable, but then it leads to comfortability, leads to the confidence, it leads to the well-being, it leads to relationships being built. And you never know, next year you might have that car, or maybe, I don't know. So many different ideas, so many different things, but
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible, for sure.
How about you? What'd you learn? What'd you take away?
When I look at this weekend, I think I look at all the weekends we've kind of had together. And the reason I look at that is because, it's the last race of the season, and it's something that, we're not going to be able to experience again, at least in maybe North America. We might be in Europe next year.
Yeah.
But what I've learned is, when you surround yourself with the right people with the right mindset and the same passion of growth and wanting to be creative and just wanting to find new ways to do different things, to elevate everything that we do, that translates, and it's almost like a drug, right? It's, you see one person do it and you want to follow that. You want to do what they're doing, and you want to be able to meet that expectation and exceed it, and you want to be able to, it's just some sort of energy that's there. Like when you listen
collective
to
energy is huge, bro.
Exactly.
So I like hanging out with you. It's like I joined a run club.
Yeah.
And I started running faster and further than I ever have, just from hanging around people. And some of this shit may feel cheesy at first, but then you do it and you're like, oh.
But what is cheesy? Is it cheese, or is it?
There's a drone. I'm gonna fly my drone.
I think I know what we're doing next.
You're going the wrong way, bro. The bridge is there. No. Anyway.
That's nice.
Yeah, man. I like that.
Yeah. And who knows? The next one could be, your next trip could be in Europe. Could be in Dubai.
Yeah.
Could be somewhere.
Could be in Dubai. Could be in Europe. And I just want to circle back on that.
Yeah.
The journey, because you're kind of reflecting back on that whole year. And for those of you who don't know that whole journey, Suelio Almeida was an individual from Brazil who moved to Canada for school, and he has, over his life, accumulated 16 years experience playing piano and has a master's in piano, like you said.
And he's amazing at it.
Yeah, and he was sim racing as a full-on hobby. It was just a thing he did for fun, and he was good at it, though. That was the thing. He was doing it, and he was good. And then someone told him once, you start teaching people, and then that teaching led to finding a way to monetize it and do it at scale, and which led to him creating an academy and a course and a book and a YouTube channel. And even this year, like, it was back in January, Andrew was working with Suelio, had been working with him for a bit at the time, and he was like, yo, Ramsey, I need you to go to Florida with Suelio. I can't make it. I have to take care of something else. I'm like, okay, sure. Never done it before. He's like, hey, this is what you gotta do. This. Went to Florida to test a car, and the car broke on like the first day. So he missed out on like 3 days of driving, but within those 3 days, him and I got to speak to like so many different teams and just network and get to know the possibilities. And he kind of came to the decision of buying a race car, buying the Radical SR3.
That was crazy.
Which is a high downforce car with a motorcycle engine in it, and it can hit like, I think, 250 kilometers an hour. Yeah. It can pull like 4Gs laterally, so that's like sideways. That's how much grip it has. So it's a crazy car. It's definitely in, I don't even want to call it entry level. It's probably an entry level to high downforce racing.
Yeah.
So I got back to Canada with Suelio, and him and Andrew went to Toronto to pick up the car he bought. He just said screw it. He spent like all his money, bought the car.
Yeah. It's a beautiful process to see.
Then Andrew was set off on a journey documenting, the beginnings of that as it progressed throughout the year, and he raced the season, and they changed teams. After which race? The second race?
I think after the second or third race, we basically went from Ryspec to Graham Rahal Performance.
Yeah.
And
which was a really cool move for him, because he went from like kind of like a grassroots team to a team owned by an IndyCar driver.
And I think I've never experienced any IndyCar level stuff, but just based off of this year and how everything has happened, that's the definition of, you work hard, you get to where you want to be, and now you get to experience that. And I think, to the same point, that feeling of that environment that you're in, I think, plays a huge role in how you do. And I think this season we've seen it with Suelio.
It was crazy. Yeah. So he battled hard at many different racetracks across America. Andrew and I found ourselves in weird towns in America. Andrew more than me.
Alabama.
Alabama is his favorite place in the world.
My favorite place. I love the food there.
And we went through many late nights, many long days traveling. Today is another long day traveling. Like,
our flight's at 11.
We're flying out of here in 8 hours.
It's 3:00 right now.
But like
fine.
you went through all of that, and it's crazy. The entire season was decided yesterday in a 40-minute race because his contender was 7 points behind him, and his contender is a Le Mans winner, if I'm not mistaken. His contender, Chris McFlurry. Sorry.
We had McFlurries yesterday, which is good.
Chris McMurray. I'm going to tell that joke because it's pretty funny. Because his name's Chris McMurray. And his joke nickname was McFlurry.
Yeah.
So
it was in the Toronto video, McFlurry.
Just as a joke. I doubt Chris is watching this. If he's watching this, Chris, you're a good sport, man.
Yeah,
it's great
we
to
love
meet
you.
Great to meet you. But we then got some glorious McFlurries at the end of the night yesterday after a lovely banquet put on by Radical Canada where Swelly got a trophy that was way too big to put in a suitcase. But that's besides the point. I wanted to just kind of recap the year, recap the weekend, and recap our thoughts while they're still fresh and while we're sitting here.
I think the one thing you forgot to mention is throughout that process of being in Sebring with him, when Swelly texted me, yo, I bought a car, you had a conversation with him in terms of what you were thinking of buying too. And I think that environment of being with the people that just say, fuck it, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And both of you did something crazy, but crazy good. Yeah. Right?
His courage was, like I was talking at the time about buying the Inspire 3. He was thinking about buying the car because you could get a 2024, he could get it brand new, and he wouldn't have to worry about a car being broken, because it's the worst thing. You're a good driver and your car doesn't work, and then you're just mad because it's just annoying. Remember, we were like on our way back to Canada, and he's like, all right, I'll buy the car, you buy the drone. And I was like, okay. And surely enough, a week later, he bought the car and I bought the drone. And,
it's crazy.
You know, I was just seeing a young dude, like he's only a couple years older than us. He's 30. We're in our later 20s, you know, and like seeing that courage of like, fuck it, I'm going to spend all the money I have, take this leap of faith. And it worked. And like even with the drone, like I spent the money, I took the leap of faith, and it worked in a different way, you know. I've been developing as like my professional career as a drone pilot, as a drone operator in films and commercial productions and video productions and flying drones all over the world, and just kind of like establishing Pano Media as a company that offers drone services globally, locally, in all sorts of different conditions, and legally as well. That's the huge part. Legally is something I do take pride in, because there's a bit of a process involved, but the airspace is made to be shared with manned aircraft, and
doing it right.
But yeah,
you know the best thing about that too, that I think an analogy just came in my head, or I don't know if analogy is the right word, but like I think of it like that drone is kind of like, you know, you see Swelio and the way he got his car and the way he progressed and upgraded and the way that he's been leveling up in these races. I think of it as this drone also for you. You first get it, okay, perfect, I'm gonna take care of this baby, and then I'm gonna do maybe like my first typical stuff that I do, and then now you're doing even more movies with the drones. You're flying in places that you probably haven't flown before, and it's taking you to different limits. So that's why I'm excited to see in a year from now, or not even a year, maybe even 2-3 months from now, what is the potential of, you know, what's your championship? Where are you gonna be? Where is that gonna take you? And what are other things that are gonna take you in life, right? And I think that was just something that came in my head when you were talking about it.
It's hard. I don't even know. I have no clue. That's the reality. I have no clue, but I think that's what's exciting.
Yeah.
I think the way I plan, at least to carry on forward as a human being, as a business person, as a, you know, camera creator, videographer, whatever you want to call it, is to just ground myself in a good foundation of like physical, mental, social, like routines, good healthy routines, and then just continue exploring. I actually read something in a book by Rick Rubin, The Creative Act, A Way of Being, really good book, and it was about discipline and freedom, and he was talking about how discipline is not like the robber of freedom. By being disciplined, you are not taking away your freedom, you're actually giving yourself more freedom.
Creating freedom.
You're creating freedom by waking up every day and having a good habits in the morning. Like, you don't have to be ultra rigid and like do a 12-step 2-hour morning routine, like, but you just, I think generally you should have good, consistent, healthy habits. That kind of discipline buys you freedom, because let's just use the physical one for example. If you're waking up every day and you're taking care of your body with good nutrition, good hydration, and you're exercising. Electrolytes every single morning.
He's been taking care of me for 3 days.
Every single morning, electrolytes, hydration, light, movement. That's the morning routine. Millionaire.
Except our lips are burnt from the sun.
Yeah, I got a sunburn on my lips. It's pretty shit. So that discipline, like as the example of like physical, being disciplined physically, now my body's stronger. I sleep better. I don't have to worry about like aches and pains because I can handle the strains of daily life of carrying things and cleaning my house and just anything that's physically demanding. You're way more up to the challenge for it, so you can do it quicker, which then gives you more time. And that's just like one example of like the freedom that can be had just by being disciplined.
And freedom can be defined so many different ways too. Like, what is freedom for older people? Is it just the ability to be flexible? Is it the ability to be able to just walk? Is the freedom exploring the world? Is freedom being free? Is it dumb? Actually, that didn't make sense.
It's fine.
That was just a joke, but it is defined in many different ways. And I think at the end of the day, if you got to figure out what you want your freedom to be and how you can achieve it, and when you find that out, you'll feel free from the dumb.
Feel free to feel free. Feel free to feel free.
But it's pretty cool that people are fishing here.
Yeah, bro. People are just having a Sunday out here.
Yeah.
It's Sunday, September 29th. We're coming up on the end of the third quarter of 2024.
Yes.
If that means anything to you, if you are a person who files taxes quarterly. Not that matters, but I like to just throw in the date because it's just a cool timestamp. Yeah. And we're going to put this episode out on the Creatives on YouTube. Just pop it out on clips just for fun.
Yeah.
Just for fun, for memes. Just
Memories.
to put it out there. Listen to it one day when I'm bored. This episode is brought to you by the Golden Gate Bridge. Sponsored by
DJI.
May as well be sponsored
My
by
hands
DJI.
are so cold, I'm trying to change it.
Your hands are cold?
DJI, yeah.
It actually is pretty. The weather here is trippy. It was like 32 degrees Celsius 2 days ago. Then it was like a little cooler yesterday, and then today it's just been chilly.
Like, I got goosebumps.
This man is cold, and
It's cold.
I would love a coffee. So
Get some coffee.
as I look at Alcatraz prison, just off the coast here, I see San Francisco over here, and a bunch of lads just having a Sunday fishing. Thanks for joining me, man.
Thank you for having me.
For those of you who don't know, Andrew and I used to have a podcast called Take One. We made like 8 episodes.
We were literally in a forest, a sim racing place, not knowing where to be,
My parents' basement.
to now, San Francisco, California.
Yeah, but we just wanted to make shit and just for fun.
Yeah.
And just like, even if, like we said at the time, if this inspires one person, we did a good job.
That's all that matters.
And if it inspires no person and no one even watches it, at
memories.
least we have a video journal of our thoughts.
It's true. And just the way we think, because right now, like 2 years from now, we might think differently.
Yeah, man.
But to be in that moment of looking back at it for memories and just to reflect on our own feeling, you never know. 2 years, 3 years. What if, for some reason, we've lost our creativity? But then we watch this video and we look back and we say, that was why I was creative. That was why I was in that mindset. It's because I was surrounded by all of these things to help remind yourself of everything.
I agree, man.
Yeah.
And with that, thank you. Thank you for a good trip.
Thank you as well.
I know we're going to be stuck beside each other for the next 18 hours.
We might be in Florida in January, but we'll see.
Still. Yeah, there's a lot more to come, and we will document as much of it as we are able to.
Yeah.
For now, thank you for watching. And
We'll see you later.
We'll see you later. And one more thing. Spark a conversation with someone. Record it if you feel like it. If you feel so inclined. Yeah, don't think about it.
Just do it.
Just spark a conversation about a topic and explore your own mind. Explore their mind. Learn from it. Close it up. Carry on.
Explore.
I don't know. Don't always put so much meaning on everything because it's not that deep.
No. Just like this, like, people are going to look at us, they're going to forget. And just for us,
The
it's a
amount of
memory.
people that looked at us were sitting on a dirty ass pier.
My butt hurts.
My butt hurts too. Just stand up. Thank you. Bye.
See ya. Oh, my butt. Shit. Yeah, I started cramping up at the end there.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, I'm so